Hello YouTube, RetroEd here. Welcome to the channel dedicated to old school video games and toys. Today we're doing my top 5 Sega Dreamcast shoot 'em ups, or Shmups as they now seem to be called. But before we take a look at the list, a few disclaimers I think worth referencing up front. So disclaimer number 1, there's so many shoot 'em ups for the Dreamcast, so I'm sure my selection or even the order is bound to offend one or several people, particularly any professional gamers who may be watching. Number 2, the list is very subjective in nature, so I've kind of voted and selected based on my heart and based on my soul. Number 3, and the difficulty level for all of them, I kept the default setting, which to be honest for a couple was probably still a bit too hard. And number 4, which is the biggest disclaimer of all, I still really like that Colour Me Bad song. Hey ho. So take a look at the video. Once you've viewed, if you've got any kind of comments on what you think of the order, if you've got any other shoot 'em ups you'd recommend, we'd love to hear from you. And until next time, all the best and cheers. At number 5, Last Hope. So okay graphics on this one, not dissimilar from games such as R-Type. Has an absolutely kick-ass soundtrack. Starts off a bit like Twin Peaks, builds up, and then the drums kick in and everything kicks off. However, it is very difficult, and even on the default easy mode, it felt more like Lost Hope or even No Hope than the Last Hope. So a lot going on. The various layers graphically look pretty cool, however they make the enemy fire particularly difficult to see. So all in all, a nice game, but the fact that it's harder than Ron Jeremy's Hedgehog puts Last Hope at number 5. At number 4 is Mars Matrix by Capcom. The amazing backdrops on this one. Starts off quite plain and just opens up into something truly incredible. In terms of difficulty, it's tricky but not impossible. There isn't a plain pixel in sight, you still manage to navigate your way through. Big ass bosses, really fun shooting styles which keep you on your toes, pretty cool. Sound effects though, slight letdown. You can adjust the volume in the settings, but the sound effects still really overpower what I think is quite a gorgeous soundtrack. All in all, Mars Matrix is as solid a game as the planet itself, and that's why it's number 4 on the list. At number 3, Trizeal. It just has some fabulous adjustable screen settings. Look at me, I'm playing it in portrait mode, which is just sugary sweet. The graphics are awesome, and it really differentiates the ships and the enemies from the background. It has a bit of a 2.5D perspective to it, with how the backgrounds move and also how the enemies swivel around the screen. All of the enemies are bloody massive. At times I thought I was battling a boss, only to find out it was a standard John Smith baddie. That said, when you do meet a boss, you certainly know it. They are grande. A good learning curve on this one, so even my amateurish piloting, I made it fairly far in. Sound effects and music are good, but it's not the funkiest of this top 5. All in all, it's a very good game. And with try meaning 3, Trizeal is number 3 on the list. At number 2 it's Gunbird 2, perhaps the most popular or well-known on the list. It's another Capcom title, and you could probably guess it from looking at the graphics and animation screens. It's a bit cheesy peas, but having more of a storyline than the others makes a difference. There's some particularly goofy characters that keep things interesting. You quickly build up power-ups, so even when the screen is ablaze with bombs and enemies, you can still cut your way through with your pew-pew lasers. The soundtrack is typical Capcom. Some nice melodies sitting on top of the drum beat, fresh from the Bon Tempi keyboard. Nice. Enemies are a tad on the large size, but the weapons make it manageable. Loads of colours, and at points you feel like every colour that the Dreamcast is capable of are on the ruddy screen. A great game I could return to again and again. Gunbird 2 is my number 2. And in pole position, number 1 it's Stormwind. I freaking love everything about this horizontal shooter. The graphics are delicious, the The details of the ships and the backgrounds are just amazing. The use of the layers make it very immersive indeed. Even the explosions are insane. The screen will go yellow and you'll spend 10 seconds wondering if you're dead or alive. The bosses are very different to what you typically see in a shoot 'em up. The first level, for example, is just a set of arms that try and grab you out of the sky. Gameplay is very slick. You can change the direction of your weapons, and often you need to do this to take out an enemy that's behind you, or even a boss that's sitting overhead. I love the goddamn music. The tracks are very different. Often it sounds like a mad professor on amphetamines hammering a keyboard like his life depends on it. The sound effects are equally impressive, thunderous explosions and screaming lasers. Every now and again, one of your allies pops up to say something. They could be speaking Japanese, English, or even Danish. Everything else on screen is so bloody loud, I've absolutely no idea what they're saying. Maybe they're saying, "Stop shooting your own people, you ruddy moron." And that, my friends, is why Sternwind is my number one.